How are you? Excellent. How are Woo, what a day, what a day, what a day. It has been warm, it has been muggy, and we have not seen anything yet as far as warm and muggy goes. Good afternoon, everybody. Betsy Kling here, chief meteorologist at NBC in Cleveland, Wkyc, and boy, oh boy, we have a big setup for not only severe weather overnight tonight for the greater Cleveland area and the Great Lakes region, but then we have massive heat that is coming for the next several days too. Just to kind of give you orientation to where we're sitting right now, we have a large storm system that is sitting in the northwestern part of the country, is bringing cooler than normal temperatures to the northwest corner of the United States. There is a whole lot of heat and a whole lot of nasty humidity sitting in the central part of the country, and riding around that has been a series of storm systems, and that is going to be the focus of our forecast for the overnight hours for most of the Great Lakes. Now, when I'm talking heat, I'm talking some serious heat. It is 99 right now in St. Louis, 96 in Kansas City, 98 in Dallas, 99 in Houston. That's a big deal because not only are they hot, but look at where they are. They have all that humidity streaming right in off of the Gulf of Mexico. And so that humidity is feeding farther to the north. And we just have an absolutely soupy air mass that is setting up. There's a few different mechanical things that go on with these severe weather setups. One of the most notable things that I want you to kind of put in your mind right now is that we have a boundary, a cutoff for where all this humidity is sitting to drier air to the north. Storm systems love to follow boundaries. Old friend of mine, Dan McCarthy, was the warning coordination meteorologist at the Storm Prediction Center. As a matter of fact, he was the first one. And then he became the meteorologist in charge of the Indianapolis Weather Service office, and he's retired now. But the number one thing that he has drilled into so many people's brains is that storms love boundaries. They feed off of that collision of air masses, that change in energy there. And so that kind of forms our corridor. So when we're looking for where severe weather is going to be possible, we look for those boundaries, and that boundary is significant. The heat index, not only the heat, but the humidity, you combine those two together, it feels a lot hotter than it actually is. These areas shaded here in pink, this is where we have 105 plus heat indices right now. This will be on the move. This heat dome is going to continue to shift to the east, and by Tuesday and Wednesday, we have a huge area where we have heat alerts that have been issued already. Where you see the pinks here, those are high heat warnings or excessive heat warnings. We have heat advisories in the orange areas, and there are excessive heat watches that extend eastward into the Ohio Valley. On top of all of that, we have the heat, we have the humidity, we need a trigger, and sometimes thunderstorms can trigger themselves. So we also have severe thunderstorm watches that have been posted with embedded warnings therein. So we have a multi-pronged problem that is setting up here for the next 24 hours. Now, a lot of times we can point to the jet stream as being one thing that we can take into account when it comes to severe weather. Well, our jet stream pattern is very far offset from where a lot of the intense severe storm action will be. That jet streak sitting up here into New England. So that is really more of a delineation of where the heat and the humidity is versus where we're really going to start to derive a lot of energy from the top-down method of the atmosphere. We are definitely going bottom up, that heat and the humidity. All right, so remember we talked about that boundary. Remember where that dew points were very soupy versus not so soupy. And look, it is right there where we have this axis of our severe weather outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. So we are in a moderate here. We are waiting, literally at this moment, we are waiting for the update from the Storm Prediction Center. We have a feeling that we will have a brighter color embedded right in the middle of this, where we have the potential for even more enhancement. So a likelihood then of severe weather, and this would be taking place overnight tonight. So we're talking about a widespread severe thunderstorm threat tonight. Not the tornado threat. We're going to break that down in a little bit, but just kind of take that off the plate here in Northeast Ohio. There is a chance of that farther west. That would be out more toward the Chicago area, northern portions of Illinois, southern Wisconsin. We are looking at widespread severe wind damage, straight line wind damage, and then the possibility of some small hail. And we're going to throw flash flooding in there too because of all this humidity that we have going on. So I'm going to take you through the next 12 hours on the big scale. Then we'll break it down to more Northeast Ohio specifics. But you can see these thunderstorms that we were just talking about sitting here in the lower Great Lakes into central Indiana. Watch how this evolution takes place as we go through the evening. We may see things temper down just a little bit, so we kind of get this initial spark in the afternoon. And then we will be waiting and watching to see another round of storms fire off later on tonight. Matt is here. Matt Wentz is here. Peyton Domschke is here. All three of us just had a little mini conference on this. And like I said, we're waiting on updates from the Storm Prediction Center and also our local National Weather Service offices. But watch how these nighttime thunderstorms start to congeal into kind of waves of storms coming in. So we're going to have sporadic storms, and then we could have clusters of more organized storms. Those are the ones that we're going to have to watch for the wind threat out of. So 3 a.m. I know that is not typically when we have thunderstorm threats, but this is why we are going with, a little bit more notification for you than usual. 3 a.m. we are going to have a very noisy complex of thunderstorms just starting into the area, and we'll have a few of these waves of storms coming in. This is 5 a.m. and when you see these little bows here, that little smiley face looking thing, that is a bad thing. That is called a bow echo, and that is a sure sign of high wind. We get the high winds that actually push the thunderstorm out, so we may have that coming in, slamming the lakeshore areas right at about 5 a.m. or so, and then that threat continues to spread down throughout eastern Ohio into western PA and West Virginia. So we're really kind of giving you the heads up, not for right now, but later on tonight. Temperatures are going to stay in the 70s tonight. It's going to be warm, very muggy. And then there's where our thunderstorm threat really starts to increase after the midnight hour into the early morning. So let's do that exact same thing. We're going to stair step you through the overnight hours. We have easy peasy forecast for the evening. So if you have any evening plans, don't worry about it. Even till 10, 11 o'clock, we may have an isolated thunderstorm threat, but I really think we have to wait till early morning to get this going. So we're probably going to see some thunderstorms firing here even as we get into 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. You can kind of see how these isolated storms begin to pop up in the forecast models. Once we hit that 3 a.m., now we're seeing more clusters of storms. So now we're inheriting some of the storms that have fired farther to the north of us. Once there's 4 a.m., now you can kind of see how that first wave of clusters starts to get together, and we see a little bit of a bow echo chance going through areas of southern Summit County, eastern Wayne County, Stark County. Then there's 5 a.m. There's that cluster that comes in, that bow echo that comes in along the lakeshore. This will be a bad deal. If this happens, remember, this is all just forecast, but a lot of the forecast models are aiming at this. The conditions are there. Things are coming together. If this indeed does happen, we will have power outages for tomorrow morning. If you have a must-do alarm at 5 a.m. or thereabouts, I would say anytime tonight, if you have an alarm that you have to hit, whether you're doctor's appointment, work, airport, whatever, set it on your phone, charge your phone now, unplug it, and set it, because that's really the only way you're going to be guaranteed that you will be getting that alarm. Because if the power goes out, and right now it looks like that is a possibility, you at least have a backup there. The other thing to note is that on your cell phones, the National Weather Service has the ability to trigger specific warnings, tornado, flash flood, and then catastrophic wind warnings or considerable damage warnings from severe thunderstorms. You may think about turning that back on if you have turned it off. Those are the cell phone alerts. Your phone all of a sudden goes berserk. They have amber alerts, they have blue alerts and whatnot. If you turn back on the weather alerts tonight, that's going to help you out a lot, because you definitely want to have a way to receive warnings tonight. At least you'll have the heads up that this is coming. Those storms continue to fade south as we head through 6 a.m. By 7, 8 a.m., it's out of here. And then we just have a very hot day setting up for the day tomorrow. The overnight storm threats, the high wind threat is the big one for us. We also have a pretty considerable flooding threat, because the rain that's coming along with these thunderstorms is going to be coming down at really impressive rain rates. Hail is possible, and a tornado, we kind of can't rule it out. So that's why we're going to leave that in on the low end of things. Now, the timing. This is where the overnight part gets in here. Remember, we are all green to go. We are good to go past 10 o'clock. Even once we get to 11 o'clock, midnight, that's when we're going to start to keep an eye on things. The biggest threat for those thunderstorms with the wind damage threat is coming in the early morning, anywhere from about midnight through 7 a.m. I'll give you a nice big window there. More likely than not, we will have a severe thunderstorm watch that covers the entire area for that time. Large hail, it's a pretty low threat with that. Tornado, it's a low threat too. And then there you can see the flash flooding threat that comes along with those thunderstorms as they come in. So really, it's one of those things. We just want to give you the heads up that overnight tonight, things are going to get a little gnarly. If you have kids or pets that are very sensitive to thunderstorms, it's going to be a very long morning for you. But just make sure you have multiple ways to receive warnings. We will have team coverage for you tonight at 5, at 6, at 7, at 11. Holly will have the latest for you tomorrow morning, too, as we're going to track all of these thunderstorms as they come in. But just be ready, friends. Power outage is a very big possibility. We may have some damaging winds that come through the area, too. But the number one thing is, please make sure you have multiple ways to have those alerts getting to you. That's a very important thing. I'll see you on Channel 3 at 5 o'clock for What's New. We'll be teaming up with Matt with the latest on all of this. Thanks so much.